Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
This is the Art Vigil Show.
Art Vigil. Welcome to the Art Vigil Show!
Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
Undefeated.live, baby. Everything is alright, baby. We on the road to riches, and you ain't getting no ride, baby.
Welcome to the Art Vigil Show, sponsored by Undefeated.live. Make sure you go download the app, make your best sports takes, as well as real cash, soon to be crypto contests. My guest today is Gabriel from what is it again? Curious
Sports Both.
That's right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining.
No, thank you, Art. I love everything you're doing with Undefeated Live here on X, and then obviously the app. And it's valid. It's valid. You can indeed win, hold, cold, hard cash moolah through the contest there. Fun takes too. So thank you, Art.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So you and I've been on your podcast a couple of times, maybe 3 times. And so I'm thankful that you were able to join mine. But a couple of questions about you. How did you get into podcasting? What was the reason that you did?
Yeah, I've always been around sports. You know, I grew up in Nebraska for a bit, so heavy football since I was 5, and then we moved to Germany because my dad's work when I was in middle school. So grew up always following American sports, but then the more global sports scene, I've always just been talking sports. It didn't matter. And so we would always do on our own, like little mock shows and mock presentations. And then that translated to, by the time I got to college, doing my own show and being more serious about it. And then pandemic hits, and I just went, I doubled and tripled down. I applied everywhere I could. And I got in at a couple places, started doing my own show. And I've since, within the past year, I've since branched off, started doing my own thing. And I love doing this and meeting people like you and just really connecting, collabing more. So really this has been, I would say, I'm 28 now. Really, this has been like 23-year process, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Where did you go to college?
My undergrad was a smaller school by Buffalo. And so there I was a credit or 2 away from having my minor being journalism. And then I went for my master's then at SU, not for journalism, although that would have been interesting. Wouldn't have minded that. But there we were in social studies education. So I know how to read. We could exchange history takes maybe on a separate episode. But that's where I did my college. That was my academic life, and so really it's all really translated into everything I'm doing anyway, in regards to writing and in regards to how I view podcasting and content creation. A lot of the skills and a lot of my approach is transferable there. So, for anyone out there who's in it, who's either pursuing their degree or they've pursued a degree and maybe or maybe not, they've graduated, but they're in a totally different line of work, or they can't quite find what they want in their field. Like the skills typically are transferable, and there's something that you've 1,000% learned that you can apply to whatever it is you're pursuing right now. So that would be my takeaway.
So how many streams do you do a day? Because when I'm on X, I see a lot of you on my feed. So and always typically with different people. Well, not every time, but most of the time it seems like there are different people collaborating with you.
Oh yeah, I love doing that. I'd much prefer talking with you or with someone else. Don't mind doing it solo either. I could talk for an hour and a half solo. But yeah, we're going 3 times a day, but there's something else that I can't quite say yet. Not that it's mysterious, but it's just nothing's official yet. That may forced me to change my hours due to time zone differences. So
Okay.
as of right now, we're only on one once a day for the time being. But before this new potential partnership of myself, before that, we were doing a morning show, a soccer show with Wopicho from Uganda, and then we did an afternoon show with a guest or with Joe or Jordan who's in the comments here,
Oh,
and
I
we
know
would
Jordan.
talk about whatever's hot, and
Yeah.
then late night NBA show after all the main NBA slate, all the main NBA action has finished, slash whatever the late for us. I'm here on the East Coast, whatever that late West Coast game was starting. So we'd then talk about that, give insight on that live, and and then whoever else I can find, whoever else I come across on the X platform, then be like, hey, you want to do a show? We can hop on with us, or we can change the time, and that's really then how it started. And we now have the Wednesdays 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time slot with you, Art, and
Right.
that's one of our staples that I look forward to each week.
Whoa, am I getting in this partnership? What's going on?
Oh no! It's a writing thing. It's a writing thing. Me solo.
Oh, cool,
Unless
cool, cool.
yeah,
That's
if you
exciting.
wanted to, I'd
That's
ask.
exciting. Hey, you gotta ask. You don't ask, you don't get anything.
Mhm, mhm.
So I did see your soccer show. Um, how did you get involved in soccer? Because I'm a huge soccer fan. I played soccer pretty much my whole life. Um,
Oh, there we go.
yeah. Whoa.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
What a
didn't know
job.
that. Yeah, I love soccer. That's my. Oh, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Art. This is what I get from Jordan.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna be talking about that in a second, Jordan.
But nah, so for me, like I said, football was first. Being in Nebraska, you know, football in the Midwest is big. Football's big in the South, obviously, but
Yeah.
football's pretty big in the Midwest, and in Nebraska specifically. So I grew up in Bellevue. That's like right outside of Omaha. Eh, But really throughout that state, it's all Cornhusker football.
Right.
That's the thing. So that's what I fell in love with first. And then we moved to Germany, like I said, and I just really enjoyed just playing soccer. I sucked as the American, I, I was very good at basketball comparatively to everyone else, but I was so bad at soccer compared to everyone else there. But I
Well,
loved it,
yeah, but
and I
they
did.
live and breathe soccer. They live and breathe
Oh
soccer from a
yeah,
young age. So
oh
yeah.
yeah,
So it's a little different. Well, it's just slightly
and
different.
and they made sure that I knew though that I was bad, and so that would make me mad, and so I was obsessed with soccer, and then I loved the teams, and so I
Right.
would just that's all I would do was I would practice soccer, and I'd get better technique, and then get more try to get my physicality up and get my skill level up, and then by the time we moved back to the States playing high school level soccer, I was an all-star, and like it was
Right. I
so
was gonna
easy.
say, yeah, exactly.
But now to this day, since soccer stayed with me, love soccer, love running, played midfield, and then we parlayed that into playing Division 3 soccer. There was no NIL back then anyway, and not
No,
that
I
there would
know.
be for D3 regardless. But playing D3 soccer, it was just fun to be able to play at a college level and just
Right.
extend my soccer career like that. And but yeah, ever since then, I would say football was the sport that I first really enjoyed watching, but then soccer is the sport that I obsess, film study, breaking it down, tactical analysis. And that's something I still enjoy doing to this day. And kind of like what I said in terms of, my degree doesn't necessarily translate directly to what I'm doing now. My approach and how I look at games and how I break down film that I used in soccer, specifically in college, I apply that to it, to whatever sport I'm watching. It's not the same, obviously, and I have to maybe change my technical approach and how I'm
Right.
looking, like if a UFC, but a lot of similar concepts, and so I think it's all immensely been valuable. But that's how I got into soccer, and we're still plucking away there too.
Nice. So the transfer window just ended. I believe on the 31st or February 1st. What was some of your favorite? This wasn't the question. Now we're talking about soccer. What were some of your favorite moves on the teams?
In soccer now?
Yeah, European soccer, the transfer
Okay.
window.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Definitely Marmouche. I've been very high on him, and he's an Egyptian striker from who played for Eintracht Frankfurt. And when you hear that, he's getting a lot of comparisons, obviously, to Mohamed Salah. Not there
Salah,
yet,
yeah.
and certainly Mo Salah. He can slalom. He can slalom through any defense. He's so good. But what I like about Marmouche is A, his versatility, and B, hold up play. Really nice finishing ability, and he's so young. He's got a lot of talent. I think he is someone, and he's now made the transfer here to the Premier League. So we'll see where it goes. Different level, Bundesliga
Oh,
to
yeah.
Premier League, totally different level. But I think he's someone you're now pairing him in Guardiola's system. I think Erling Haaland needs a little more support. He's someone who could play the 9, could play striker, but he's also someone I put him on the left wing. I think you can have him as an attacking midfielder, and I think Erling Haaland is going to be the single biggest beneficiary of getting Marmouche.
Wow, look at you. So how often do you watch? Well, let me take a step back. What's your favorite league? I think I know. What's your favorite league in Europe?
Oh, Premier League.
Right. Okay. Yeah. What was your favorite team while you were living in Germany?
So I've always been a Man U fan. They were the first
Oh, yeah.
team that I liked, and so I enjoy suffering, I guess. They've
Well, they
been
were
so
good in the
bad.
80s and 90s.
And early 2000s.
Yeah, in the early
But they've been
2000s.
so
And Ryan
bad.
Giggs. They had some really great players.
Oh yeah. And now they're almost in a relegation battle.
There was
It's
who bought
so
them? There was an NFL team. I think the owners of the
the
Buccaneers bought them.
Glazers.
That's right. Yeah. And I felt like ever since then, they just weren't the same team.
Pretty much I haven't seen a single Man U fan who's been like, oh yes, the Glazers are good. I am glad that the Glazers are in charge here. I've never seen that once, and I doubt I will. Instead, the hashtag Glazers out tends to be trending regardless of the day and regardless of who Man U's playing on any given night. It could be the Derby, and Glazers out will be a very popular, easy pick for anyone. So yeah, the team, and now they got Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He's in there now. We'll see. But basically, Sir Alex Ferguson leaves the building, and it just goes to show he's someone
Right.
who really was buttoned up, had everything together, and replacing someone who's that good at what they do is insanely difficult, let alone you then bring in someone like the Glazers, who they're apathetic at best and just completely incompetent at worst. So I'm hopeful under the new manager. I reserve my right to have hope, but at the same time, I go in expecting to lose every game just to kind of hedge
Exactly.
my own feelings.
Yeah, no, I wake up on Saturdays and Sunday mornings when obviously the Premier League is open or on. I think it starts here at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I'll get up and watch games. So I'm a huge fan. I actually, my first league that I fell in love with was the Premier League way back in the day. As you know, I'm a bit older than you. And that's putting it nice. A bit older than you. Matter of fact, I have a son the same age as you. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right, hold on. Let's move into some. We won't do Super Bowl yet because I honestly think the NBA has stolen the thunder and the hype of the Super Bowl week with all these trades, especially the Luka trade, the AD trade. What a freaking who trades one of the top 3 players in the league at 25 years old? to the Lakers of all teams. Of all teams. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, how this isn't supposed to happen anymore. Lakers of old, sure, absolutely, but this isn't supposed to happen anymore. Where the Lakers get their way and where they fleece another team. But good for them. They were able to find the sucker, and it was such a bad move that even Mark Cuban is coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, I had no idea." So no one in Dallas wants accountability for this, except for the man who pulled the trigger on this trade. It's crazy, and I think you said it dead on, Art. I the NBA stole the NFL, what should be the NFL's week, hands down,
Right.
and it's not. It's absolutely not.
I was on a podcast last week that was making jokes about the NBA trade deadline. Why? They're like, why will they put it on the week of Super Bowl week? Why? It's going to get, it's going to be, no one's going to pay attention because of the Super Bowl hype. And that Luka trade changed everything, 100%.
Yes.
It happened Saturday night. My son texted me and he was like, Luka got traded to the Lakers. And I thought he was joking. I was like, yeah, whatever. I didn't even respond. I didn't respond to him the next day. And I was like, you know what? I wasn't on the internet. I put my phone down. All right, they're making jokes. I don't want to put it. I think I even put my phone on mute. I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna wake up the next morning and everything was just like, I was like, oh my God, that actually happened.
That's what Shams thought. Shams thought his phone got hacked.
Right. Yeah. Do you see the reaction of the players? KD and Booker, they were on the bench, and one of the fans, they were like, what? What?
Yes.
What is going on?
No, it caught everyone off guard, and Nico Harrison is going to he's in a championship or bust window now. There's no way you can keep him around.
He better win either this year or next year.
Has to.
Or he's out.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know that Nico and Pelinka. Well, Pelinka was Kobe's agent, who's a GM for the Lakers, and the other guy was his Nike rep, Kobe's Nike rep. So they know each other really well, and I think there might have been shenanigans going on there, because the Lakers need, because LeBron's going to be, I mean, he's still great at 40. He'll probably play another year or two at a high level, because he does still, unless obviously he gets hurt. But
right,
Luka for 10 years, he's 25 years old. I mean,
it's crazy.
And
I will play.
Go ahead.
I will play devil's advocate, because there did seem to be a lot of internal friction, and everyone's pointing to the beer video where they make it to the finals, and who was it? Michael Finley takes the beer. Yeah. Oh, cheers. I love Coors Light. So cheers to you, my friend.
Yeah. Cheers.
But what that video indicates is just what's now being reported more as that clash between, hey Luka, it's a bad look. You need to get in shape. We need you to be healthy and available, and we need you to actually be the face of the franchise in terms of he's fit, he's all in, he's ready to go. Where Luke and enough so where they're reporting he's at 270, and no one, he steps out of the charter the other day. No one thinks he's at 270, but it just goes to no. But it goes to show what they see in Luka, what they viewed in Luka as the problem, and Luka looking at himself and saying, "You see, I can drop a triple double whenever I want. You see, even with the calf strain, I'm playing through everything. I can still get 40 to 10. You see this, right? But that irreconcilable difference, maybe it's best that they did end up parting ways, and they do get Anthony Davis back, who, let's remember, at the beginning of this season was seen as the front runner for MVP, and he's regressed back to the mean. He's regressed back to what we expect of AD. Good at times, consistent injury problems.
Yep,
But
inconsistent.
I think if you have that ongoing conflict, it's better to trade and to leave yourself flexibility rather than being tied to a guy who you're not all in with, who you're not totally a fan of, versus being tied into that guy for 3, 4, 5 years.
No, I think. Well, I it's hard to disagree with that. I also think because of what they're coming out with, his lack of fitness, which the guy played Olympics, played really well, started the season pretty good. Last year was in the finals, although they got whooped by the Celtics. Nobody out of the West was beating the Celtics. They were on fire. I also think they didn't want to give him the max because
Right.
the $374 million, 330, whatever it was, 350 for 7 years. And that sucks. They cost him $116 million. I mean, he's in LA. Maybe he'll be like Shaq and LeBron and start his own production company and make movies. That's what the Lakers do. They seem to get big stars, and all of a sudden they are in movies and they are making money on the side. But yeah, what's his name from the what's the GM's name from? I always forget his name. Nico. If he doesn't win this year or next year, because Kyrie after this year is a free agent.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to give him a max. What? Who's giving what? I mean, you put Kyrie and AD together. Not only are they injury prone, neither one of them are great leaders. Who's going to lead that team now? And again, I love Kyrie's play. I think AD when he's playing defense and when he's not playing center, he's playing power forward because that's what he prefers to play because he doesn't want to get in there and hit with the big guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just don't see that being a good core. But hey, maybe I'm wrong.
Definitely avoid. But yeah, 1-2 years max, or he's out of there.
Yeah, he'll be back at Nike. He'll be shopping shoes at Nike. All right, so we can talk about that all day because there's so much to talk about. There's so much content out there from all the NBA guys. But I want to get to Fox. What do you think about his move to Spurs?
Oh my goodness. So I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan.
Whoa. You're a Patriots fan and a San Antonio Spurs fan?
Oh, yeah. And a Nebraska fan.
You just jump around to winners. You just want to be part of the group. Are you the bandwagon guy?
Well, no.
I'm kidding.
No. Because when I was 5, absolutely. But since then, all of these teams have proven to be god awful, and I stayed loyal. So no. But yeah, I didn't like the Spurs at all making this move. I'd been screaming for 3-4 weeks. Whatever you do, please do not go all in on De'Aaron Fox. And I like him, I think, enough as a human being. This isn't personal.
Right.
But I don't like the move. De'Aaron Fox is a guy who needs the ball in his hands. He's most efficient going downhill one-on-one and in the mid-range. So not really a floor spacer. Oh, what?
I said he's not a 3-point. He's not a consistent 3-point.
No. And I miss vintage Spurs basketball where, ball movement. And I get it. Wemby, he kind of plays as a guard, so I probably am asking for something that will never happen anyway. But I know damn well it's not happening with De'Aaron Fox. the whole reason you get De'Aaron Fox, the whole reason you invest in De'Aaron Fox is because of what he can do and how special he can be. But it's going to be at the cost of him pounding the ball for a half or over half of the shot clock, and Wemby probably having to fight for offensive boards. So I don't like the move. I think it's an odd fit, and I like the move from the fact of what we didn't have to give up. We kept the Hawks picks. We kept our core intact. But I'm hoping we just flip him. I don't mind getting pennies on the dollar. I just want to flip him. I want if tomorrow that we get if Shams believes he's hacked again because De'Aaron Fox was traded for a couple of like 5th round picks in the NBA draft, I'm fine with that. I know the 5th round doesn't exist in the NBA draft, but that's how low I'm willing to go.
Really? So everything you said was right about Fox, because I live in the Sacramento area. I live about an hour and a half.
Oh yeah,
northeast of Sacramento, so I've seen a lot of his games. Yeah, I know. And at certain points, I felt bad for him because he was at some point carrying the team. But they do have a good nucleus. But I'm happy he got out of Sacramento because they're just not going to win anything. Sabonis, Murray. Murray's good. He's a good player. Now they have Levine. That guy hasn't won a damn thing. He's very talented. Don't get me wrong. But, to be fair, he's been with the Bulls. So, all right, let's talk about KD. Lots of rumors out there that KD's on the move. I've heard the Warriors. I've heard the Heat. I haven't heard the Lakers, which is shocking. Although they need a big man. Although the Warriors used him as kind of a center during the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who else did I hear? Or Dallas. Or Nico wants to bring KD, Kyrie, and AD together. Do you think he gets moved? Does he stay with Phoenix? And if he gets moved, where do you think he's going?
Yeah, this is an odd one to me. First of all, the Warriors, they're in contention for apparently everyone. So let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, it seems that way, right? Yeah.
Every time I open the app, Warriors are interested in XYZ. So I guess we need to be on the lookout for a Golden State reunion. That would be interesting. I don't think it gets you over the hump or another championship, but it'd be interesting, right? I'd tune in for that. But I don't understand him necessarily leaving Phoenix if you go out and get Butler, which from everything that has been reported, it appears Jimmy Butler is sending a nuke to any trade proposal that doesn't involve him going to Phoenix.
Yeah,
and I have to assume that that's only because of him wanting to play with KD. So that's why someone is lying or someone doesn't have something aligned there, which it could be Butler. It could be Butler misreading the situation, right? And he thinks, I'm gonna pair up with KD. We're gonna be in Phoenix, me and Book. We're gonna get it. We'll be the 3-headed monster. When in reality, KD is saying to himself, I want to just get the hell out of here. So very possible this is an entire miscalculation by Butler. I'll concede that. But that being said, that does seem to be the most logical move, and it would probably have to be a 3-4. I even read somewhere up to a 5-team trade to get that done. Why? Because I don't think there's anything that Phoenix would be willing to move on from directly in order to get Butler that Miami would want in return. I don't think that world exists. I don't think that possibility exists. So whatever would need to be happen in terms of other teams, other players being across, could you then be married to that core? Booker, KD, Butler. Could that be enough? I would think so. You have 3 players who are still good enough. You have 3 players who can still, I think, collectively, I think they'd be willing to share, where they would at least be a problem in the West, but I still would have their ceiling as just making the Western Conference Finals. I think if they ran into Denver, I think if they ran into OKC, and we'll see which of the two teams in LA or Dallas ends up looking better just this year, I still think they would fall up short and not be able to make it to the NBA finals.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think the Warriors are. I've again, growing up the Bay or being a Warrior fan, even during the lean times, or let's not call them lean, they're just terrible times. Seeing Curry struggling, right? Well, his play's not struggling. The team's struggling. They just don't have enough good players. They have okay players, I think. I would love to see him go win another one somewhere. If not with the Warriors, I mean, to be fair, I would love to see him win another one with the Warriors. But if he does have a chance, he's getting up there. He's not a young buck anymore. I mean, not everybody's LeBron that's going to play until they're 40. Not everybody's Tom Brady. They're going to play until they're 45. I mean, you can look at Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, all great quarterbacks in their prime, and then seems like all of them kind of hit a wall. They're just mediocre.
Right.
Granted, Rodgers and Cousins had Achilles injuries at that age. Probably should have took most of the year off, but they wanted to play. So I don't know. I don't see where would I want Curry to go? I think I would want to go to the Knicks. Although I don't.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that.
Oh, I don't want to see him go to the Lakers. I know LeBron wants to play with them. He's been talking about it on well, not recently, but over the last couple of years, he's one of the players he wants to play with.
Yeah.
Now, if LeBron went to the Warriors, which I know everybody's saying the Warriors have reached out to talk to them, or talk to the Lakers, that would be tough for me to swallow. Because I want to see Curry. Well, I mean, I think LeBron's one of the greatest players ever, top 3 ever to play the game. His longevity is absolutely amazing, kind of like Tom Brady. I don't know. There's just his flopping, his always having to have, if you look at all the championships he's won, he's always had great players next to him. And you can say Jordan could only win one with Pippen. Well, LeBron can only win one with Wade and AD and Kyrie, and Love. So I don't know. Plus, another pet peeve of mine is we were up 3-1 against the Cavs, and they came back and beat the Warriors in 7 at home. So that's right. One of my top 5 reasons why I dislike him. But again, love to watch him play. Great player. I love the fact that he takes care of his body.
Oh, yeah.
So all the qualities of a great player I enjoy. All the little things that make me dislike him,
adds up for you.
Yeah. So if I was a GM and he was coming out of high school, because that's what he did, I would pick him first. So don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's just little things that I'm just like, oh man, stop talking, please. But anyway, where were we going with that? Where else do you think KD would go?
I'll give you like the one that's obvious is obviously Warriors. I'll give you a sleeper one that I saw that I wouldn't mind either is the Rockets. Rockets, they're a younger team. They're playing really well. And I think that would be interesting, having Jalen Green, having him, and then having their center there. I think that would be a good fit. We've seen KD be able to come into a place and just be amendable. Just he doesn't need to be the show, but as needed, he can take over at any time. So I don't think mind that. Sengun would obviously have the ball a lot in his hands. And if he's doubled, then being able to kick out to KD, that'd be fantastic. That'd be unbelievable. And if not, then let Sengun go to work down low. So I wouldn't mind that. And I think that could be a really interesting fit to help get the Rockets. I like the Rockets. I'm higher on the Rockets. I'm higher on the Rockets than most anyway. But I
Right.
think that would make more people kind of be like, oh, sleeper in the West.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. KD going to the Rockets would get the narrative off them that they're such a young team, they can't play a veteran team in the playoffs and beat them in a 7-game series. So I think that would be good for the Rockets. And I would still put them underneath OKC, but not by much if KD was there.
Fair.
All right, let's move on to one more NBA, and I can't believe we started with it. Well, we started with you talking, then we moved into the NBA. We haven't got to the NFL yet, and we're 35 minutes in, so hopefully we have some time. Hopefully we have some time. So you might have saw this. So Pat Riley back in the 80s. Here, let me share my screen. All right. Saw this article on CBS Sports. You got to give him credit, or you might get sued.
Right.
So back in the 80s, right when the Lakers were going for a three-peat, he trademarked three-peat. He gave if the Chiefs win, he's going to allow them to use it on shirts and hats and everything, and he could make millions of dollars.
Good
That's
for him.
crazy. Yeah. Yet another reason for the why I want the Eagles to win. He's a Lakers coach. Yes. So I'm not sure if you saw that, but I thought that was interesting. And now I'll stop sharing my screen, and we'll talk some NFL. All righty. It's a Super Bowl. Should we talk about refs? Do you think the refs are going to make? I know the refs have come out. Somebody said it was insulting. the head of the referee were insulted, and all the comments on X are hilarious. Everybody's like, "Dude, we watch the games. We see things. You can't tell us that we're not seeing things that benefit them, especially in big moments. That Casey gets the call. I mean, I think it was." Chiefs had opponents had 66 penalties called on since 2020, and they only had like 30 or 28 or something like that.
Jeez.
Like, there's a huge gap there, people. And the fact that, and again, they have to say that. They're the NFL. They have, they're involved in betting. So they can't say, no, we know the referees are in on it. They have to come out strong. But I have a feeling they were going to make some changes because the NFL is really good about changing rules on a fly. Meaning there was the catch. Nobody knew. Chris Carter had, you have to control the ball when you can't touch the ground. You have to control the ball when you go down. He was the guy that came out with the catch rule. And there was like a 3, 4, maybe 5-year period where nobody knew what a catch was. I mean, my best example, well, there's 2 good examples. One, Megatron caught the ball in the end zone, hand over it, put it down, and they called it no touchdown because it hit the ground.
Right.
The other one was Des Bryant against the Packers. I mean, to me, both of those were catches, but because of Chris Carter's or the NFL rule, they called it no catch. But they changed it. And I lost $100. And that's why I remember this. We were in Tahoe, me and my buddy Chad, families hanging out, watching the game. And the Eagles scored a touchdown. And it looked very similar to the Des Bryant catch. And they called it a touchdown. And I'm like, what the hell? so I had to fork over $100 for my buddy. But my point is, I think the NFL is going to definitely make sure that the penalties are even, and Mahomes is going to get away with some of his little dancing running, and then all of a sudden, falls or looks like he's sliding. That's what I think. But what do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely hate that. As just someone who forget that I'm a Pats fan and I don't want to see the Chiefs three-peat. More on that in a second. It's just Brady got a lot of calls, and Brady got calls that other quarterbacks didn't. Absolutely, 1,000%. What Brady didn't do was try to toe the sideline, knowing that defenders would not want to touch him to avoid a 15-yard penalty, and thereby getting a free 20 yards. What Brady didn't do was wait till the last possible second to slide when the defender's already in his motion to tackle him, so, to get a cheap 15-yard penalty like that. That's something that Mahomes is doing, and that's truthfully not something we're seeing from any other quarterback. People may blame Josh Allen for flopping, but in fairness to him, at least there's actual contact. At least he's flopping with legit contact. Now I think the contact is in bounds in terms of it shouldn't be a foul, but right, Mahomes playing chicken with the refs or with the sideline. That's such a disingenuous way to go about things, because again, the defender, they're trying to not get the penalty, but then, in my opinion, if that's what you're doing, if that's your approach, the defender should have that total free liberty to just go for full force on a tackle or on a hit. Because if you're doing that, how do I know that you're not trying to just, in a sly little way, and skid past me because you know that I'm not allowed to hit you? It's so unfair. Yeah. So I'm okay. So in that sense, maybe it's worth an extra 15. But in terms of the rest, yeah, the refs undoubtedly play a role. And it's not just quantity. It's if it's a close 50-50 call, an early drive being extended in, say, the first or second quarter has a tremendous impact on the game. So I understand that stuff can happen afterward, or that the Chiefs defense can then pitch a shutout in the fourth. Totally get that. But there's a big difference between the Chiefs being granted extra possessions and between your defense having to go back out there or stay out on the field. That's cumulative. And you never know how the game would have been played out if, say, the Texans have a lead, for example, in that first half, versus them trying to catch up or play from behind. So it undoubtedly has an effect. Pretending otherwise is disingenuous. I will say the refs coming out with this report, a little Barbara Streisand effect. Maybe just pretend that you didn't see this and move on with your day and let us continue to grumble, because now you're just pointing at it, and of course I'm going to comment on it and say, exactly. Yes, it's legit. It's a legit complaint.
I agree. What is it, Scott Green? It's insulting and preposterous to hear conspiracy theories that somehow 17 officiating crews consist of 138 officials are colluding to assist one team. That's the statement.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody goes, what? Of course you are. What? You not watch the tape? Like, seriously, watch the tape. In the last two Super Bowls, the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs have no holding penalties. 0. Watch the tape. They're holding every damn freaking play. Especially passing plays. Not so much on running plays, but definitely passing plays. And so I'm hoping this Super Bowl is going to be called fair, because we're all watching for it. Everybody, that's the narrative. Even if you don't watch NFL like you and I do, my wife or my brother's wife, they read it, they hear us talk about it. That's the narrative that they're going in with it too. So I hope it's a fair call.
Absolutely.
I really do, and I hope the tush push gets eliminated too. But that's a different discussion. That's a whole different discussion. That was kind of a squirrel moment for me. So we won't talk about that. All right. Let's see here. So apparently, the Chiefs are embracing them being villains. And I'll read you a quote from Patrick Mahomes while he was being interviewed yesterday. If winning football games makes you a villain, we're going to keep going out there to do it. And on Travis Kelce's podcast with his brother asked him, do you guys like being a villain? And he said, F yeah, we do.
I mean, what are we even saying? Yeah, you're not the villain because you're winning games, right? The
No.
Warriors pre-KD weren't villains. They were pretty universally beloved, right?
Yep.
It's when you do extra nonsense that makes you the villain. You know, like after the Bills beat the Chiefs and all we hear about is the refs. Oh, that's a terrible call. And then in the next moment, we hear from, oh, you can't, you games are however the games are, you can't blame officiating, you can't blame refs. We've seen you complain when the refs didn't make calls in your favor.
That's right.
So
Josh Allen too. He complained to Josh Allen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really the way I don't know how this, if assuming they three-peat on Sunday, I don't know how we're gonna evaluate this because they've kind of scratched and clawed their way through this season. We remember how they were celebrating like they had actually won the Super Bowl against Denver, and remember that was off a blocked kick.
Right.
So it's really been the defense carrying them the past 2 years, and so you acting with this arrogance, like if they had been playing the way they had been playing prior to those first 2 years, so I would go from 2020 to 2022, well 2019, 2022, somewhere around there. If they were playing like that on offense and winning, I wouldn't have a problem with this. I'd be like, okay, yeah, absolutely, you deserve to be in the discussion, and anything about ref foul play, overkill.
Right.
But you're winning these close games a lot of times coming down to the wire with clear officiating help. Not saying it's rigged or not, that's a discussion for another day, but very clearly the calls are benefiting you, and it's the other side of the ball really carrying the day for you, but it's you who's getting all the accolades, and it's you who's saying, oh, we love being the villains. This is a carry job by Steve Spagnuolo and Chris Jones.
That's right.
So that's how I view it. So I fly Eagles fly, baby. Let's do this.
Yeah, I've never, and again, if you watch any of the talking head shows, they're all saying that we're all jealous. We hate greatness. Nobody likes greatness. That's the dumbest narrative I've heard in a long time. And they're all talking about it. It's Nick Wright, Colin, the guys at ESPN, they're all, the reason why they're villains isn't because of the refs, it's because they're jealous. We don't want to see them win. So I started thinking about it. Am I jealous? No. Why would I be jealous of a football team? For one. Two, why do I dislike them? Because I never really thought about, well, that's not true. When Joe Montana was traded from the Niners to KC, we watched Kansas City because Joe Montana. Again, I was a Dolphin fan still, but the family did. My dad actually he bought a Kansas City starter, which I still wish we had because it was sweet. But anyway, starter jacket. And I started thinking, why do I now dislike? It's not jealousy. The refs have something to do with it. And then I started digging a little deeper. Mahomes' brother. Okay. Mahomes' wife. His dad having 3 DUIs. Kelsey's attitude. First time I remember Kelsey, and you probably don't remember this, he had a show on E! Entertainment that was like the Bachelor show, where he had women vying for to be his girlfriend. I don't think his wife. I think it was to be his girlfriend. And then, of course, you have to put the Swifties in there. And the NFL constantly showing her on TV. Then you throw on the refs. And so those what, 8 reasons why I dislike it. It has nothing to do with them winning. If they win, great. They're still not undefeated. The Dolphins still have that record. So their first one to three-peat. You know what? The Niners almost did it. The only reason they did it is Roger Craig fumbled the goddamn ball. The Dolphins went to 3 straight, but they lost the first one. They won the next 2, and one of them was 17-0. Pittsburgh Steelers almost did it. The only reason the Cowboys didn't do it in the 90s because Jerry Jones was an idiot and fired Jimmy Johnson and brought in his buddy from freaking Arkansas as the coach. Well, they won 3 out of 4. Patriots almost did it, but you know who beat them? The Eagles.
Thanks.
That's why I think the Eagles are going to win.
Oh, I see.
So
I see. Yeah, and no one had at least I didn't, universally speaking, like no one had a problem with the Bucks winning when they got their ring. And if they had been able to keep that core together and they had rattle off another 1 or 2, I wouldn't have had a problem with that Bucks team. I wouldn't have had a problem with the Rams forming a dynasty, right? So no one was rooting against that, and no one was crying foul with the Rams and Bucks teams. But we are, I think, for decently valid reasons with this Chiefs team. That's just how it is. It's got nothing to do with being jealous.
No, I agree. It has nothing to do with being jealous. I've always rooted for greatness. So that has all the stuff I don't like about the Chiefs are outside of football, besides the refs. The refs are the only thing. All right, real quick, let me share my screen again on the Undefeated Live site. I'm not sure if I showed you this before. But all right, quick sponsor. They sponsor Undefeated Live. Download the app, Real Cash Money, make hot takes, join huddles. It's your digital sports bar. Download the app. All right, so if you scroll down to what's your takes, there's a reason why Mahomes is there. And why? Because somebody, QB attack, why isn't this horrible Super Bowl performance talked about more? 52% passer rating, 26 out of 49, 26 out of 49, 270 yards. He was sacked 31-9. That right there is why he'll never be the GOAT unless he wins 8 Super Bowls.
Jeez.
And that's why it's on the site. Because I want everybody to remember. Everybody's got to remember. A 40-plus-year-old man beat him in the AFC Championship with one team, the Patriots, then beat him in the Super Bowl with another team, the Bucs. So one was 40-plus, one was in his prime. There's no way he could be the GOAT. Not sure how we got off. Sorry, I went on a little rampage there.
Oh, that was beautiful.
I'm going to have to clip that and put it on the app. All right, I want to ask you about who's going to win. I have a couple more questions. Actually, I think I only have one. No, I have 2. All right, so NBA trade deadline, still in thunder from the NFL, but there are some still potential NFL trades. At least players, Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp. One requested a trade. The other one, the organization said, we paid you a shit ton of money, and you've been hurt ever since. It's like Sean Alexander, running back for the Seahawks. Finally, he got paid, and he went to crap. But anyway, what's the best fit for Cooper Kupp first? We'll do Cooper first.
Yeah, I think he needs to be somewhere where if he goes down again, and he probably will, / misses time, where it's fine, you have a good quarterback, and you have enough wide receiver help, And I think we saw from the Texans that would be the case. They were down 2 pretty significant pieces, and they stayed afloat, right? They won a playoff game. And
Yep.
so assuming they all get back healthy, adding Cooper Kupp there, I think would be a good fit, and or with the Buffalo Bills. More or less the same thing. I think the sum of the parts in Buffalo on offense is good enough, but getting that boost of Cooper Kupp and not needing to necessarily rely on him, I think that's a good fit. And depending on how the numbers work out contract wise.
Well, I read that the Rams are so desperate, they desperately want to get rid of him that they're willing to pick up some of his contract.
Right.
So you're saying Buffalo, Texans, anywhere else?
I can't think of another really good fit offhand, and so that means he'll probably be Casey next year.
I was thinking Chargers.
Oh,
Doesn't have to move. It's the same stadium. I thought Buffalo, but I don't want him in Buffalo. I thought Patriots. But again, if he gets hurt again, that's going to hurt unless they get a wide receiver in the draft, or they get another, because they have a lot of money left over. Their cap, I think they're their second most cap space. No, they're number one. I think they're number one. Here,
they're
I have
up there for sure.
Here, look at me. I can share my screen again. Here we go. Yeah, New England's number one. Vegas is number two.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, I can go into the Commanders too.
Wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. Don't go to Tennessee because that's where all good wide receivers go to die. San Francisco, I don't see them trading that way. Green Bay, although they need a number one, they don't need a two. They have enough twos on that team.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, well, they have Thomas. Who else do they?
I wouldn't wish that on Cooper Kupp.
Nah, you already won his Super Bowl. Well, I mean, if he goes to New England, the Vegas, they're not winning the Super Bowl next year. The Commanders and the Chargers have an opportunity.
Yeah, be interesting.
The Bears, Allen's a free agent, so maybe he can be the number two guy there. Well, Minnesota, Detroit, no.
Put him
Giants
Cincy.
need everything.
Straight up for Higgins.
Yeah, maybe because T. Higgins, he gets paid $30 million a year. I can see him going to Cincy.
Look at us fantasy GMing.
I know, no kidding. Huh? It's so easy. No, Tampa Bay too.
Yeah, I like that.
Godwin, he's gonna be gone. He's free agent. Pittsburgh needs somebody, but they don't really have a quarterback.
Yeah, that's a wait and see
All
situation.
right, what was that?
That's a wait and see situation in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it is. What about Myles Garrett?
Now here I got a couple of good fits. I'll say the one in terms of a straight up trade, Vegas, because then I think Max Crosby wants out of Vegas. So whatever a deal with picks or any other players between basically Myles Garrett for Max Crosby, get a 1-for-1. I think that could potentially work out. If not, I'd like to see Myles Garrett maybe with the Minnesota Vikings, for example. I think Vikings could use a little bit of a pass rush, and they're in a, depending on what they do at quarterback, they're in a win now scenario. And if not, now this is a little bit more of a stretch. I recognize this. I wouldn't mind him on the Bears defense. I think the Bears have a overall solid defensive unit there. So adding him would only
Yeah.
help. Wouldn't mind the Chargers. Wouldn't mind the Chargers at all. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
And
him and
then
Bosa. Him and Bosa.
yeah, exactly.
Because Mac's gone. They're not going to pay him. Him and
Right.
Bosa. That could be interesting.
Plug and play. Plug and play.
Yeah.
But if he comes to the Patriots, I won't be too upset either, Art.
Yeah. No, I like almost all of the ones that you said besides the Patriots. I will say the Dolphins, we can trade Bradley Chubb for him. So at least they'll get another. And Bradley Chubb in a pick.
Yeah, right.
So that's one for one, same position.
Right.
The one I think makes most sense. There's two I think makes most sense. The Commanders, because they need somebody to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
That was part of the problem, besides fumbling, but that's a different discussion. And the one I think he's going to, and I'm going to be really mad if he does, the Buffalo Bills.
You'll be
I have a feeling he's going to end up there. Yeah, because we'll have to play him twice a year. I don't want him to hit Tua. Tua will die.
True.
And Tua will be done.
Literally in this case.
And they're talking about picking up Mariota. I'm like, how many Hawaiian quarterbacks do we need? Like, seriously. What are you going to pick up Gabriel from freaking Oregon State too? Or the Ducks? Come on. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Let's see here. Last question. You don't have to answer this because I know you have your own podcast. But who wins the Super Bowl and what do you think the score is?
Oh yeah, I posted earlier. I think the Eagles win this, and again, this is me hedging my own feelings and my own personal investment. I just don't want to three-peat. I enjoy being a Patriots fan, and I enjoy being able to divvy up the six rings. I enjoy being able to divvy up the dynasty and having to pick which dynasty is better than anything the Chiefs have ever accomplished. And if the Chiefs pull off a three-peat, I have to then make a choice. I have to then have an actual conversation, and I don't want to do that. So part of this is pettiness, part of this is laziness, and part of this is what you mentioned earlier. How dare you? How do you have the nerve? How do you have the gall to already have an agreement to use three-peat when that's far from the case as of right now? You have a whole game to play. So how dare you? How dare you? I want all of that effort to be for nothing. So that's what I'm personally rooting for. But either way, I think both defenses are solid. Saquon Barkley is going to get buckets, though. Patrick Mahomes can still get you points on the board. So I'm thinking the Eagles in, say, a 24-17 or 24-20-ish game.
Wow, okay. Are you making bets?
Oh, yeah. Eagles money line.
Okay, are you making legal bets or bets with your friends and family members?
Oh, no. We're in New York. It's all kosher here.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think I already said I want the Eagles to win. I think it has to be somewhat of a blowout. So I'm going to say 31-14 or 31-17. Because if it's close, like 24-20, I have a feeling the refs are going to get involved. Patrick Mahomes is going to get a call, and they're going to kick a field goal and win the game. So I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, our only hope, is it blow. Saquon has a 200 yards rushing, or total. 150 yards rushing, 50 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He's the MVP. AJ Jones. AJ Brown has a touchdown, or Devontae Smith has a touchdown. The Eagles defense. What scares me about the Eagles defense is their coordinator.
Why is that, Art?
Because he's 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes. He's 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes. Dude. So that is something that kind of scares me. But a lot of those losses were with, well, one is with the Dolphins in the second or third coldest game ever to play an NFL football game, which they shouldn't have played because people were losing fingers and toes. Not the players, but the people in the stands.
Right.
And then he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos when the Broncos were trash. So
Right.
I will give that as an excuse, but he's 0-8.
Not great.
against
Not great.
Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, so if it's close, Kansas City wins. If the Eagles come out and run the ball and play great defense and pester Mahomes a lot, get to him, I think it could be 31-17.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be excellent. And you know what? They just lost to the Chiefs 2 years ago. So maybe it's a little time for some payback. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, Gabriel, thank you again for joining the podcast. This is the fourth podcast since we restarted. My buddy Chris was going to be on, but he's not feeling well. So hopefully the next time that you join, he'll be on. Tell everybody where they can find your podcast, where they can find all your content.
Oh yeah, no, thanks again, Art. This was fun. So we'll be on the X at Sports Pulse 100 tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, with Art from Undefeated Live, and we'll be on Undefeated Live with our takes there as well. So again, thank you, Art.
Probably gonna have another take-a-thon for the Super Bowl. So I'm hoping the new release with, I think I sent you the video of the leaderboard on takes. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Download the app if you're still listening. Real Money Games, only sports, Twitter. Put all your hot takes on there as well. And I look forward to tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye, everybody. Forgot to play that.
All I see is money, 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 money. All I see is money, 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 money.
Go make your bet.
Yeah.